let me tell you a little story just to give some perspective. So, when I was at court back in 2021 for the 2 counts of assault with a deadly megaphone against the guy with brass knuckles that was punching women, and he and his gang were attacking women and then me, I did have a court hearing on a date in October of 2021. When I left the court, I walked a couple blocks and got closed in by 14 FBI agents and grabbed. Now, initially, the first FBI agent was in his 30s, looked like a vato, mustache, shaved head, said, "Sorgente!" And I turned and looked. It was lightly raining. I had an umbrella. And the first thing I did was I held the umbrella down. It was open because I was going to hope that I could, like, matador any bullets, like, disguise where my body was as the bullets came at me. Because I figured he was one of the gang members from the Lowell Street Sinners, for which I'm on trial, or going to trial for. Maybe. But I'm in court for right now. But it was the FBI, and the others all closed in on me. 14 in total. Most of them were in their 20s. They look like college students. They look like liberal college students, honestly. Anyways, the next day at the Ronald Reagan Federal Building, the judge ordered that I be released with an ankle monitor. That was the 25th of October. I got arrested, went to the trial, or the court, in the Ronald Reagan Federal Building on the 26th. On the 27th, I was out with an ankle monitor. On the 30th, there was a children's health event, COVID thing, happening on the 30th of October, 2021, 2 miles from where I was staying. So I went to it, and I got swarmed by well-wishers, 20 people. And some of you gave me a megaphone to use because the FBI had confiscated mine. So I walked for about 5 minutes with the procession, and then suddenly I got jumped by 5 guys. And they were shoulder checking me and elbowing me and saying, "You're a bitch," and spitting in my face as they said it. And they kept coming at me, and they had me pinballed in between the 5 of them. Each and every one was taller than me. They were all probably weighed more than me, except for maybe one. But they were really roughing me up. And I recognized that it was a setup. It was an entrapment scheme. Because I recognized one of them being related to an individual that I had a restraining order on years before, that a district attorney had told me was protected by the FBI, was working with the FBI. So I knew this was like a COINTELPRO type FBI entrapment scheme. And so I didn't take the bait, and I endured for a couple minutes the gauntlet. I walked about a block, getting pinballed and elbowed and knocked back and forth. And I kept talking and trying to negotiate and say, "Hey, why don't you go with me someplace one-on-one?" Just trying to, negotiate my way. Wasn't trying to fight them, but I was trying to, it seemed like I was going to get my ass beat by 5 people, and I'd rather fight 1 than 5. Because I can run from 1. I can get away from 1. I can even beat 1. I can't run away from, get away from, beat 5. That's not, I can probably, God willing, but I'm just saying my odds are better. So I was trying to, mitigate the situation. Now, here's the thing. The cops rolled up, the gang task force. These guys were in a group that's recognized as a gang. The gang task force guy gets out and says, "You 5, keep walking that way. You, take the curb, sit down." And I said, "What are you talking about? They're a gang, and they're trying to hurt me." And he said, "You look like the belligerent one to me." Then one of the 5 communicated to him, this gang task force of Orange City of Orange PD, that I had an ankle monitor on and that I was in violation right in front of me, which just validated and confirmed what I thought. That was an entrapment scheme. They're trying to get me in violation of my federal pretrial release for conditions of release by fighting, but I didn't take the bait. So I sat there detained for 45 minutes, all banged up. I showed the cop the back of my calf because one of them just kicked me literally seconds before I turned the corner and encountered the gang task force rolling up. And there was still a red mark, like a bruising on my calf. I had injuries on me. Thankfully, they had to declare me the victim and not the aggressor. There were an abundance of witnesses. I even told one of the people, I said, "Hey, Peter, I need you to tell the police what you saw." The cop said to me, "That could be considered witness tampering." And I said, "What the F are you talking about? What the fuck is wrong with you? What the?" I was like enraged because I knew that they were trying to bend anything they could, trying to grasp at straws. They let me go finally. Now, Orange County is unique because they have a terrorist screening center. And it's an organization that's a liaison between state or, local and federal law enforcement. It's unique in the country. They did it after the Patriot Act in 2001 because we have so many Persians, Iranians. Even though 9/11 wasn't Shiite Persians, it was Sunni Muslims from our ally, our second greatest ally, Saudi Arabia, who gives us oil, who gives us petrodollars, sells their oil and our money. So even though 9/11 was Sunni and most of them were for Saudi Arabia, the Patriot Act in Orange County was about the Iranians. But now they use it on patriots. So here I was, looking at my discovery in my federal case and seeing a report generated by the Terrorist Screening Center that says that I, having been just recently arrested for what is the largest criminal prosecution in U.S. history, and let out with an ankle monitor, chose within just a few days of that release, thanking my God in heaven for being able to be released, since all the fervor had died down over J6. All the hysteria had died down. I, supposedly, according to this Terrorist Screening Center report, after all that and being released, walked up to 5 guys and challenged them to a fight. That's how they tried to spin it. Fortunately, I was able to mitigate it by getting the police to see that there were too many witnesses for them to let anything, a bum rap, stick. Showing them my injury, getting them to document it. I didn't get them to document all my injury. I went to the doctor with back pain. Turned out they fractured my T11 vertebrae with an elbow to my spine. I didn't know my back was broken. I knew it hurt. But I had adrenaline going and I had other things going on in my life. No time for broken backs. So I got that documented. But what I want to get to is this point. When they're coming after you, people have cognitive dissonance and they may be able to be convinced that one thing, oh man, that's weird, that's crazy, they're really persecuting you. But then, like something else like this happens, they're like, you need to stay out of trouble. You're a troublemaker. You're I don't know, man, I see a pattern. They don't get the pattern is not that I'm a troublemaker. I may be, but that's not the pattern. The pattern is that I'm responding to troublemakers. I'm responding to a pattern of setting me up or trying to hurt me or trying to deny me justice or trying to paint an inaccurate picture of me, trying to frame me as something I'm not. So that's my 2 cents. I just want you to be mindful of this and as far as like what's really going on.